Hi, I'm Elle. I'm the Keystone Stitcher. Welcome or welcome back. How was your Thanksgiving if you're in the U.S.? If you're not in the U.S., how was your last weekend? It was wonderful here. We had dinner here. Well, as you know, I travel with my wheelchair, and I was supposed to go to my children's home. My daughter-in-law makes a feast. And the day before, on Wednesday, I received a call from the company that provides transportation for me to say that there were no companies and drivers available and I couldn't go to Thanksgiving dinner. So my daughter-in-law and my son packed everything up and brought it here, and we had dinner here. They weren't going to let me miss out on dinner and football with them. And then afterwards, the kids spent the night, and in the morning, my grandson says, "Hey, can we go to the cafe? There's a cafe right across the street from me for breakfast." And I thought, sure, why not? So we walked outside, and it was snowing. And my grandson was so excited it was snowing that he kept singing like the first few lines of every Christmas song he knew from here to the cafe. So anyway, that part of my life has been calm and fun. My stitching and my crafting has been a little erratic. So I told you I had 5 projects that I had set goals for. And yeah, I'm the type of person that when I say this is all you can do and this is the only thing you're going to do, I rebel. So I have completely different things to show you. I do have a couple that I said I was going to show you, but yeah, only a couple. So, and they didn't get, the first 2 didn't get a lot of work. So after I filmed, we're going to get into these whips here and we'll talk more later. So afterwards, I decided I was going to pull out Children of the Forest. This is Children of the Forest. This is by Emily, here's her last name because I don't want to butcher it. And it's charted by UnconventionalXStitch. I'm doing this on an 18 count Aida that I dyed myself. And my goal for this was to reach 2%, being a new start. And yeah, I reached 1.75. And what I was working on was filling in the stitches on these branches and a little bit more on this bud and just kind of trying to fill in to see more of the detail. But I did maybe 200 stitches or so on this, and I'll put in a before, bring this in so you can see. And yeah, I wasn't feeling it. It was that thing of, I have to do this because I said I'm going to do this. So I set that aside and I thought, okay, the next one on my list is Broken Wings. So we'll try that. And I think I got 100 on this one. So, this is Broken Wings. The artwork is by Enys Guerrero, charted by Thread Geeks. I'm doing this on a 20 count Aida that I dyed myself. This is a scrap that I cut off of another project. So this is what I did, and I was just filling in more around here, I think. And I will put the before in over my face. There's not much to see, but I did touch it, so I thought I'd show you. So that one now is the 2.31%. And that's when, well, I'll show you one more that you knew I would be working on. This is Life Support. Artwork is by Giuseppe Miconi. And this one is charted by Megan at Stitching Moon Designs on Etsy. This one I'm now at 27 hold on, let me check my notes, 65%. And I was working on page 11 and 12. So 12 is now done. This line right here, so right here is the end of 12. So 12 is done, the black on 12 is done. And now I'm filling in 11. So I did up in here, and then this whole section here is all new. And here's where it was before. So as you can see, I'm really getting down into some real dense black stitching down here, and it's going to get fuller as I continue down. And let me take this clip off and I will show you the whole piece. So this is the start, And yeah, I can't get the whole thing in, so I have to, so there's the bottom, and I still have a page and a half more to go, row-wise. So there's a full row of pages, and then there's a partial row of pages. But that's what this is looking like, and I'm loving the details. Megan does a great job charting. And then this one was on my list. I did come back to it. This is Stone Expression. This is also by the artist Giuseppe Miconi, and also charted by Megan is Stitching Moon. And I wanted to fill in the last page. And as you can see, I didn't get the last page completed. But here's the whole piece so far. And I'll put over my face where it was, so you can see that last page. This is currently at 33.57%. This is on a piece of 20 count even weave that, yes, I dyed myself. And I'll get back to this in the new year. I mean, that's, you know, it just, again, it was that because I said I was going to finish that page and I told myself I had to do it, that I just wanted to move on. So at that point I said, okay, you're going to stitch whatever you want to stitch because you're killing your stitching bug. And I pulled out Strength. And Strength is artwork by Nicolee Payne. This is an oil painting that she did based on a photo shoot that she saw. And she does credit the photographer and everything with that. But she thought it would look really good in oil. And so she did in oils, and now it's charted. I'm doing this on an 18 count, very light pewter by Zweigart. And I kind of jumped around on this time. So I will show you where it's at. I have been doing page by page. So I'm kind of stair-stepping from the right down. And so I came back up here. This was the next page. And as you can see, I did not finish that page. But I realized this is the one that the next page under would be her eye. And I really wanted to see her eye. So yeah, I jumped down and did her eye. So it's not complete. Let me bring in her eye. You can see it's not totally done. But it's such a good feeling to know that I'm getting out of her headscarf. The headscarf is beautiful, but her face, to know I'm getting to her face. So here's the area here before. Maybe I should move this over. And so you can see where it was. And this is another one that, let me see if I can hold this up. And there's the bottom. So this one is currently, I have Stone Expressions at 33.57. This one's at 33.67. So I have quite a few pieces that are, right around, 25 to 30%. But isn't she beautiful? That eye? I was loving that. So at that point I thought, okay, I have enough of the eye in. I need to go back up now and finish the page that I started and then come down and do the next page. But I thought, okay, now I've got to get back to something else that I needed to do. And in my mind. So I'm doing a sal with my friend Carrie, who is the Patient Stitcher, both here on Instagram and on Flosstube. This is Eyes of the Forest. It is by Ina Bedenko. It was sold by mybobbin.com, but it has disappeared off their website. And I can't find it anywhere else. I'm so sorry. I'm color completing this one now, and I color completed a blend, which was $37.99 and $3.10. I was going to say $33.71, but it's not. It's $37.99. So there was a few like down in here, but it's mostly all up in here, through here. You can see there's a section here, and then you've got a lot of it filled in here, and yeah, there's just, I was like, where'd it go? There's a few stitches right here. So I'm going to pull this back so you can see where it was before. Try to get the whole thing in. There we go. And yes, this is another fabric that I dyed myself. This is an 18 count. Also, the fabric was Zweigart. So the next color that I need to work on, and I'm going to try to stay up on this, so I'm going to pull this out after Flossmas, so after Christmas, and the next color is 839. It won't be a blend, and so 839 is mostly filling in the face, in the head. So that, and everybody loves the eye, so I'll bring it in so you can see her eye. And if you aren't following Carrie has converted the eyes to yellows, and I didn't ask her. She sent me a picture of it, and I didn't ask if I could share it with you, so I'm not going to. You're going to have to go over and check out her latest Flosstube to see. So that's Eyes of the Forest. And then I think I have one left, and it was another one that was not on my list, but it was what was calling to me. This is Death in the Garden. The artwork is by Megan Majewski. She is, if you want to follow her artwork and the things she does, she is Dead Kitty on Instagram. So it's Kitty is Kittie. This is charted, did I say, by UnconventionalXStitch. I'm doing this on an 18 count, very light pewter by Zweigart. And here we are. So what I did is I came down and I started working on this next page. I don't have it all done. You can see there's a lot missing in there, but that was what I was working on. This is now at, so I started working on this and I thought, okay, if I'm going to work on this, let's set a goal. And I was really close and I thought, okay, can I get to 30,000 stitches? And I did. I got to 30,412 stitches. But I still wanted to stitch a little bit more, and I looked and I thought, okay, let's see if I can get to 20%. And I did. I reached 20.48%. So this now has over 30,000 stitches in. Here's the before. And yeah. So the next time I pull it out, I'll have to finish this page, and then I'll go down. This is another one I'm kind of stair-stepping from upper right to lower left. So yeah. So that was my stitching. It's been crazy. It's been, I did have some finishes, and I fully finishes. So I had finishes that I fully finished. The first one were the 2 ornaments for my grandchildren. I showed you that I finished stitching them, and I turned them into flat ornaments. What I did is I used sticky board, and I put the stitch piece on one piece, and I put fabric on the other, and then I hot glued the 2 together with a ribbon in between. So I gave those to the kids. Excuse me, sorry about that. I was outside. I had to take my recycling out before I started this video, and I didn't think anything of it. And I went down, and what I'm wearing, just the shirt, and my clothes. I didn't put a jacket on, and our recycling is outside, and it's like 22 degrees out, and it's snowing. And so, yeah, I'm still thawing out from that one. And my nose started running. I thought, no, I'm not going to sniffle on camera. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I showed you the ornaments. And then I had the advent calendar that I made for my granddaughter. I did that last year during Flossmas. I had done the entire frame, and then each day of Flossmas, I finished one of the animals. This here is by Q Patterns by Maria. And I played around with a lot of different ideas. I was originally going to quilt it and then get like a curtain rod and slide it through a pocket in the back so she could hang it. And there were things that I didn't have that I wanted for it. So I ended up deciding that, why should I sew it into something? Because my granddaughter's extremely crafty. That what I should do is do something that would be easy for her to take apart, and later if she wants to convert it to a pillow, or if she wants to quilt it into something, she does sew, she crochets, she does all kinds of stuff. She could do that. And so I thought I would show you, not video-wise, I'm just going to show you a picture, because I don't have a setup to be able to show you, to record what I'm doing. I used sticky board, and I thought I had a larger one, but I didn't. I had 2 8x10s. I laid them side by side, and then what I did is I found the center between the 2 pieces, and I laid the project on the first board and folded it over, and then I removed the protective cover off the sticky board. And that was how I made sure that I got it centered. Now this is a total no-sew project that can later be taken apart and sewn or whatever. Okay, so once I had that done, and because I had two pieces, I had to keep them together. And I had a scrap board of sticky board, and so I used that to make sure I held the two together. From there, I went to glue gun. And you can see I did just the tip, so I folded the corners in, and I just did the tip of the corner. This way I'm protecting the piece so that if she wants to take this apart, she's going to have plenty of fabric that she can work with to turn it into something else. Once I did the corners, then I did each of the sides, and I folded it over to figure out where the edge of the fabric would be, so that again, I'm giving her as much fabric left that doesn't have glue on it. And then I used the hot glue and glued down just the edges of each side. Once that was done, I cut my ribbon and I put the ribbon there. I knotted the ribbon because I wanted, when I would glue the backing onto it, I figured if you're hanging it, if there's a knot there, it's going to be in there firmer. So the ribbon is knotted on each end just to give it a little more stability. And then I cut fabric to size so that it wouldn't show when it was hanging, but it would be nicely finished. And again, you can see I've kind of stuck my finger in here to show you I didn't glue it all the way to the exact edge. That way, again, she still has plenty of fabric left. So this is a no-sew. Now she's got a hanging advent calendar. She can hang it from pretty much anywhere. She was thrilled with it. And then I have your magnets that you use for needle minders. And while I don't make needle minders for myself or anything, I just don't use them. I did make a needle minder, what you would call a needle minder. And we now put the magnet on, and she can move it for each day. And she was excited about that she could actually mark it. Now the magnet worked even through the sticky board. And my grandson asked if he could play with a couple magnets. And he literally took the magnet on a TV table, which is condensed wood. It's that pressed wood. And he said, wow, look, I can put the magnet underneath and I can move the magnet on the top. And he just thought it was so cool that it was that strong. So yes, it worked through the sticky board, and that's how. Because even though she's 13, I thought if I do something with the pin, what if they save it and she uses it when her children, she's married, she has a family. Does she want little kids working with a pin? And so that was my thought, and I thought, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do a needle minder. So that was my finish. Those were all my finishes there, and I gave it to her. The next one that I showed you was I was going to stitch all the Harry Potter characters in that book that she had received as a kid. And I showed you each one. Now, she and I did Dobie. This was a gift her mother gave her, and so she came to my house because her mother doesn't crochet. And I taught her how to do because all I had taught her at that point were simple stitches. I taught her the single stitch and a double crochet. So a single crochet and a double crochet. And I told her when she was comfortable with that, and I taught her how to turn, she was making something where she needed to, do the rows and turn. And I said when she was comfortable, I would teach her more stitches. And her mom bought this kit. So I taught her how to do the increases and decreases, and we worked with it. But she got really frustrated because she was a complete newbie. And, but we got it done. So she got the head mostly done. I finished it, and then I finished all the different pieces with her mother's permission. And, she and I had talked about it, and then I talked to her mother. I did each piece, and then she stuffed it, and she stitched the details on the face, and she sewed all the pieces together. I started Harry, and I followed all the directions. I can't tell you how many times I pulled all the stitching back out because his head, instead of being round, was egg-shaped. It was more elongated. So I worked on that and worked on that and worked on that. I finally got it done. Here's Harry. I did his scarf. I thought about leaving the scarf off because that's something she could do. But I didn't. I figured let's give her the fully done piece. And then I fought through and I got, Hedwig wasn't as hard. So I did Hedwig. So she has Harry and Hedwig, and she has Dobie. And that's all that the kit actually came with. I had bought all the yarn, and I bought a set of eyes, all different assorted sizes, and I gave it to her and I said, here, this is all the yarn. I was going to do all the other characters. It's yours. Do what you want with it. If you know someone who is better. I've made dresses. I've made sweaters. I've made button-down sweaters, pullover sweaters. I've made long formal dress. I've done scarves. I've done blankets. I cannot do those little tiny characters. So I told her she knows somebody that can do it. There's all the yarn. There's all the materials. You know, they can do it for her. In the meantime, she's excited. She's already sent me pictures. She made another little character that she made up out of some of the yarn and the eyes. She stuffed it. She's happy. She's able to make all these little things and I can't. But that's done. My grandson's is almost done. I'll have to show it to you some other time. So Harry is done. The rest of the characters are not being done. In the meantime, I refinished a dresser and I upholstered a chair. You know, I've been busy. So that was my November. Now, Flossmas. I will be back tomorrow because tomorrow is December 1st. And I will be doing Flossmas. I will be doing it every other day. So every odd day. I'll be first, third, fifth, so on. And I was thinking that would be the best thing for me because I don't like changing things every single day. I also thought it would put less stress, and I think there's enough out there for you to watch that maybe if I did every other day, you wouldn't feel your watch later, you know, piling up as mine does quite frequently. And it turned out that was a good idea because I just got a text this morning from my granddaughter asking if she could come over Monday. So they don't have school, Thanksgiving break still. She was in the marching band, and their school went to, it was states, but it wasn't the final. So their football team made it almost to the state championship. They lost in the semifinal, something like that. They lost last night. I felt so bad for her. So she had left here. She'd spent the night with me Thursday, her and her brother. And then her parents picked her up and took her over to meet the bus because she had to go to the football game. It was in the 20s. And she was so excited, but she was also a little concerned about the cold. They're allowed blankets on the bus, but they're not allowed to bring them into the bleachers. So yeah, they have hand warmers and stuff like that. But during the football season, her band instructor will not allow them to color their hair. So the team lost, and I saw the score, and I texted her so she'd get on the bus, and I asked her how she did with the cold, and I told her I was sorry they lost, and she told me that was okay, that everybody in the band was kind of struggling to breathe. The cold air for that long of a period of time, and then with their instruments, it affected their lungs, so the heat in the bus was helping. And she said, but, you know, okay, we lost, but that means I can color my hair. So she texted me this morning and said, can I come over Monday? Well, Mom and Dad are at work, me and my brother, and can you color my hair? And I said, yes. So, yeah, Monday I wouldn't have been able to record anyway because I'll have the kids all day. So, that's kind of it. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before. I was thinking about it. I told you I have freebies, so I've lined up all the freebies that I'm going to share with you. And the first one I'm going to share with you is a full-size stocking. It's like 144 by 200 and something, and it's free. I made sure that any freebie that I shared with you was not going to require you to show, to enter your email address in order to access it. You weren't going to have to jump through hoops to get it. I wanted it to be something simple, easy, and so that's what it is. And one of them, the design is right there on the page, and you just click to download or screenshot it. So yeah, everything I have for you will be easy. I know what it's like when all of a sudden, you know, you sign up for something to get a freebie, and even if you unsubscribe, you continue for how long to get, you know, constant emails, or they sold it, or who knows what. So I think that's it for today. Oh, you know what? That's not it for today. I didn't tell you about my display in the back. These are all various cross stitches. I decided to do kind of a mixture this year back here. I kind of mix up where I put my Christmas things. So first of all, let's see. I can't get to it. Okay, this one on the end, over there, the one on the end, there we go. That's just a card. It was a card from a friend of mine, and I really liked it and realized it was the same size for the frame. And that's a frame that I picked up. I picked up out of someone's trash, but it's not as bad as it sounds. It was an elderly couple, and I'm not sure if they both passed away or had to go in a nursing home or what, but the family was cleaning out the house, and they were just pots and pans, furniture, you name it, they just set it all outside. And I had found a couple picture frames and thought, well, heck, I'll use them. So that frame was one that I pulled out of their garbage. This one here, this is by Primitive Hair. It's a digital download on her Etsy shop. This one here is Santa's Secret by Dimensions, and then this one here is the old sled from last year. I think it was December's 2023 issue of Just Cross Stitch magazine. So that's kind of the display I'm going with now. Who knows? I might change it up again, but if you're interested in any of those three, because only three are cross stitch, that's where they came from. So with that, I will say goodbye to you, and I will see you tomorrow. See you then.